this video, we're going to look at how you can work within the Layers panel. So if you don't see your Layers panel, you can open it by going to Window and Layers. And like all the panels, you can drag these off and allow them to float like this one is. You can see we already have some layers added in here. So just a couple of tips for you. If you want to add a new layer, click the New Layer button. Notice that pops into the layer above the one we previously selected, and you select a layer just by clicking on it. In order to throw away a layer, you just drag it to the trash. If you need to name a layer, double click and you can name that layer. To copy a layer, you can either select it, hit Command J, or you can drag it to the New Layer button. Along the side, you have a layer visibility toggle switch, so you can hide certain layers. Another icon is the lock layer. To unlock a layer, you can simply click it and that layer becomes unlocked. You can shift and select multiple layers, or you can command and select multiple layers. In order to move layers, you can simply drag and drop them. And you can see that blue line indicates where we're dragging layers to. As always, you can Command Z to go back in your history. Along the bottom, you have some options of things you can do to each layer. So the FX allows us to add things like drop shadows, overlays, etc. You have a layer mask, which we'll get to in a later video. You have a fill and adjustment layer. And to give you an idea what one of those looks like, this is a color fill that we've added. And so you can see that's what gives us that orangish yellow color right there. You can group layers together. And you can see all of these are grouped layers. Along the top, you have your flyout menu, which allows you to do kind of overall layer management. A couple things I'd point out that might be helpful here is converting objects to smart objects, and we'll have a separate video about that later, and also the merge and flatten options. Along the top here, you can sort by certain layers. So you can sort by the name. You can sort by if there's a certain color attached to it. So if you have hundreds of layers, that can be really helpful to help you find things. Next is your layer mode. So let's go into, we'll add a texture here. And then I'm going to apply a different layer mode, and you can see as I mouse over I get different looks. Your opacity and fill. So opacity deals with the entire layer. If there's effects, anything you've applied to it, that's opacity. The fill deals with the exact content of the layer. One final note, and we'll get into text in a later video, but just in working with a type layer, you can select and type, and it always creates a new layer. And to edit it after you've kind of deselected it, you just double click the T and you're back into your text editing mode. So those are just some tips to work with your layers panel and more efficiently create composites.